I'm Anne from To Die For Art, and today I'm upcycling some shirts from my friend Cheryl-Ann, who does all the wonderful editing on my videos. So she had a couple of tops that she just loves. They're a bit too small, they aren't really in style anymore, or there's something about them that she doesn't like very much. So we're gonna try and put them together. I'm actually gonna use a third top as sort of the support piece for what we're gonna do with the underneath top. So we have a blue tank top. Oh, I've actually attached it to my sewing machine already. And I am taking the blue sheer top and adding sort of a skirt onto it, or a peplum is actually the technical word for it. And that's going to sit underneath the sort of turquoise blue top that she's got. And we're changing the way that the front attaches and the way that it kind of drapes. I've shortened one of the ties because it used to be a wrap top, and she's just finding that's kind of annoying. So we're going to do all that and see what it looks like when it's finished. So what I'm going to do is sew on a woven fabric shirt, or the bottom of the shirt, to a knit top. So Cheryl-Ann had a knit tank top that it doesn't really wear anymore. It's maybe sort of seen better days, but it works great as a support piece to add something to the other top that's on the top. So we're using the turquoise one like a jacket, and the navy top, the knit, with this blue attached onto it, so that it's got sort of an under skirt to it almost. So here we go. Oh, and one little tip. When you're sewing a woven fabric to a knit fabric, you want to stretch the knit a little bit as you go along. And if anything, you want to have more woven fabric than knit, because you're going to stretch that knit to fit, and that way the stitches won't all pop when you put the thing on. So here we go, and I'm going to do it on a basting stitch to try it out. Cheryl-Ann's going to try it on, and then we're going to make any adjustments that have to be made. Whenever you have a wrap top that you want to convert to a straight top that just buttons up the front, or however you want to change the closure, what you have to do is you will have a thread tie on one side, which I've already cut off, and then you'll also have almost like a buttonhole in the side seam on the other side. And if you're lucky, you'll be able to cut out the top stitching and pick it out, and then you can actually just sew that seam right there, because that's what they did, is they sewed the seam, stopped, sewed the seam back here, and then turned the whole thing backwards and top stitched it. So I'm just getting ready to pick out that top stitching and sew it straight through. So you can see where the stitching starts and stops on the side seam here for that little opening. I picked out all the top stitching, and I'm going to just sew it up. Okay, so here it is, all done. No more hole. You can see faintly where the top stitching was, but that has changed it from a crossover tie top to just a straight top. So Cheryl-Ann and I decided that we needed to add something to the top of the tank top to tie in with the sort of skirt that I'd added onto it. So I looked at what was left of the shirt and decided that if I cut the sleeve off, it would kind of work on as a bib sort of on the top. Let me just show you what that looks like. So here's the piece that I added to Cheryl-Ann's tank top. The sleeve had a cute little button detail and tab, so I cut the tab a little bit and reattached it to the tank top, so it comes over the tank and onto the piece that I've added, and I think it really ties in well. We're going to see what the whole outfit looks like in just a sec, because I'm going to go over and see Cheryl-Ann. Now, one of the things that Cheryl-Ann needed to finish off this outfit was a really great big button that looked amazing. And we didn't have one. We didn't have time to go find one. And often a statement button is really quite expensive. So what we did was we took a button that Cheryl-Ann already had that was the size that she liked. I covered it with some of the leftover fabric from the top. I had one last button that matched the two that I'd already put onto the top to hold some of the folds in place, and I added that, and then I put some beads around to make it really kind of special. One of the other things that you can do is buy self-cover buttons. So it comes with a little plastic sort of jig that you put your fabric into, and you put this one piece of the button in and push it down, and then you fold over all the little bits and pieces of fabric, put the back on it, so I've stuck them in there, put the back on it, and again you use this little thing that they include to push it down really, really hard, and you can actually feel it sort of snap into place, and then it pops right out. And there you go. Now this one's just plain. It was actually my indigo dyed cotton, but there's very little indigo on that particular piece. So it made quite a plain button. But you can always do that. I have one here that I made before to match an outfit where I really wanted self-covered buttons. So sometimes rather than going out and spending $5 or $6 on a big statement button, you can, if you've got some that you collected that are big, or you go to the second-hand store, sometimes you can find something really cheap but it's got a big button on it, or if it's not going to be attached to the garment, and in this case we've turned this into a brooch, so if it's going to end up being a brooch that she's just going to pin on, and it'll look like it's a part of the garment, it doesn't really have to be washable. You could even put some cardboard or plastic in there that's really quite firm, and then cover it the same way. In this case, I had the piece of fabric, the circle of fabric, and I gathered it in the front and stitched it down, and then put another button on top to kind of hide that. Normally you gather it and hide that in the back if you're making it into a brooch. But in this case, she liked all these folds. I could just add another button on top and then a little bit of beading, and it's going to make the garment look quite special.